Let me tell y'all something real quick. You can't change what you won't confront. You can't grow if you don't even know where you stand. See, a GPS only helps when it knows your location, not just your destination. Same thing with life. Doc, I've met so many folks who say they want to level up, they want to grow, they want to succeed, but when I ask where you at right now in life, they don't have a clue. How important is that first honest look in the mirror before a person even begins working on themselves?
Steve, that's a powerful observation, and you're absolutely right. The very first step toward meaningful personal growth is awareness. Without it, we're like a ship with no compass. Working on yourself begins not with ambition, but with truth. You must pause long enough to assess, where am I mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically? This isn't about judging yourself, it's about recognizing the ground you're standing on so that you can plan the climb. Now, most people avoid this because self-awareness requires courage. It may reveal weaknesses, pain, or even regrets. But let me tell you, no real transformation ever came from denial. Growth demands honesty. You cannot heal what you pretend isn't broken. One of the most profound acts you can do is sit in silence and ask, am I truly happy with the direction my life is going? If the answer is no, that's not defeat. That's a breakthrough. That's the moment when change becomes possible. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You just need to be aware that something must change. That spark of truth, that little whisper that says there's more in me than I'm living out. That's the voice of your potential calling you home.
Listen, man, you can blame the world all you want, but as long as you do that, you're giving away your power. Life don't get better by pointing fingers. It gets better when you point that thumb right back at yourself. Doc, I know folks who've been stuck for years blaming their daddy, their boss, the economy, their neighbor's dog, everybody but themselves. But I found the real change happen in my life when I stopped saying, why me, and started saying, what now? What does taking full responsibility really do for a person's growth?
That question, Steve, gets to the very heart of transformation. Taking full responsibility is not about guilt or shame. It's about empowerment. When you accept that your life is the result of your choices, your reactions, and your beliefs, no matter how difficult your past has been, you reclaim your authority. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start being a creator of your future. Let me be clear, there are things that happen to us that we didn't choose, setbacks, betrayals, losses, but how we respond, that is our responsibility. Every single time you say, this is on me, you take a step toward becoming stronger, wiser, and more in control of your destiny. Responsibility is freedom in disguise. It teaches you that you are not stuck, you are not helpless, you are powerful, and your decisions matter. Start small. Instead of saying, they made me angry, try, I chose to react with anger. Sounds subtle, but it flips the entire script of your life. Suddenly you're behind the wheel, not just a passenger. The road to personal growth is paved with accountability. Own your story, my friend, the highs, the lows, and everything in between, because once we own it, you can rewrite it.
Let me tell you something. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps your behind moving when the feeling's gone. You want to level up, then you better learn how to show up even when you don't feel like it. I used to think talent was everything. No, man, I've seen folks with half the talent go twice as far just because they had that daily grind down pat. Discipline changed my mornings, my money, and my mindset. Doc, talk to me. Why is daily discipline the real game changer?
Steve, you're absolutely right. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Most people wait for inspiration, they wait to feel ready, but progress doesn't wait for feelings. It comes when you decide to keep your promises to yourself every single day. Discipline is the quiet hero of every success story. When you build daily habits, small, consistent actions, you're programming your life in the direction of your dreams. You're not hoping anymore, you're creating. Whether it's waking up early, journaling your thoughts, reading 10 pages, walking for 15 minutes, these aren't just tasks, they're investments in your future self. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. You might stumble, you might miss a day, but the disciplined mind doesn't give up, it gets back up. Discipline gives you structure, and structure brings stability. And when your life has rhythm, even chaos has less power over you. If you're serious about working on yourself, start by doing one hard thing every day. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You will begin to trust yourself, and when you trust yourself, you stop quitting on yourself. That's where true growth begins, in the quiet daily acts no one claps for, but that eventually everyone notices.
Everybody got something to say, man. Your cousin, your barber, folks online who don't even know your name, always talking. But sometimes elevation requires isolation. You gotta mute the world to hear yourself think. I remember when I was trying to make it, folks said I was dreaming too big, that I needed a real job. If I had listened to that noise, man, you wouldn't even know who I was today. Doc, how do you teach people to turn down all that outside chatter and tune into themselves?
Steve, that's a powerful truth, and one many people overlook. The world is noisy, and if you're not careful, that noise becomes your inner voice. Working on yourself means protecting your mind from distractions, doubt, and discouragement. You have to guard your mental environment just like you guard your physical one. Not every voice deserves space in your head. Not every opinion needs to be entertained. Sometimes growth demands solitude. Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. It's where clarity lives. When you step away from the constant buzz of opinions, notifications, and gossip, you finally make room for what you really think and feel. You begin to recognize your own voice, your own desires, your own goals, not what the world told you to chase. That's where power lives. Cutting out the noise might mean less social media. It might mean saying no to certain conversations. It might mean being misunderstood for a while, but trust me, peace is worth more than popularity. When you quiet the chaos around you, you awaken the calm within you. And that calm, that focus is what leads to transformation. You can't build a strong life on shaky opinions. Build it on stillness, purpose, and truth.
Let me tell y'all something. How you start your day sets the tone for everything. If you roll out of bed already complaining and scrolling through drama, don't be surprised when your day turns into a circus. Back when I was broke and sleeping in my car, you know what changed things for me? Mornings. I stopped waking up mad and started waking up grateful. I talked to God, write down my goals, and act like I was already living the dream. Doc, why is the morning so important when it comes to working on yourself?
Steve, you're absolutely right. The morning is not just a part of the day, it is the foundation of the day. When you wake up, your mind is in its most receptive state. It's the perfect time to set direction, intention, and momentum. That first hour of your day is sacred. If you fill it with negativity, comparison, or worry, you're giving those things a head start on your peace. But when you fill your morning with purpose, prayer, reflection, journaling, reading something uplifting, or even just sitting in quiet gratitude, you begin your day in control, not in chaos. People say they don't have time for themselves, but every morning, offers that chance. Even 10 focus minutes can realign your thoughts, calm your spirit, and remind you who you are and what you're working toward. Your mornings are like planting seeds. If you plant intention, faith, and clarity early, you'll harvest strength and direction all day long. So I encourage anyone listening, protect your mornings. Make them yours. Don't give that time to your phone, the news, or someone else's drama. Give it to your soul. That's how transformation begins, one intentional morning at a time.
Listen up, some of y'all ain't tired, you're just drained from hanging around people who bring nothing but problems, gossip, and negativity. You can't grow in toxic soil. You know, I had to learn the hard way. I used to keep folks around just cause we had history. But history don't mean destiny. Once I started guarding my circle, man, my peace, my focus, my grind, it all went to a new level. Dr. Peale, how much does our environment shape our growth?
Steve, this is one of the most overlooked truths in personal development. The people you surround yourself with either feed your soul or drain it. You see, growth is fragile. It needs nurturing just like a plant needs sunlight and clean water. Your spirit needs encouragement, support, and truth. If you're constantly around people who speak fear, doubt, and limitation, it becomes very difficult to believe in possibility. And the tragedy is, you might not even notice it happening. It's subtle. One comment here, one discouraging look there. Over time, it chips away at your belief in yourself. That's why I always say, be prayerful and intentional about who has access to your mind and your heart. You don't need a crowd, you need alignment. One true friend who believes in your purpose is more powerful than 10 who secretly resent your progress. And this doesn't mean you walk around cutting people off cold. It means you set boundaries. You recognize who pours into you and who pulls from you. And as you grow, you'll notice your circle getting smaller, not because you're better, but because you're becoming more focused. Choose people who challenge you to rise, who speak life into your dreams, and who want to see you win. Because who you walk with determines how far you go.
Everybody wants success right now today. But let me tell you, microwave blessings don't last like slow-cooked favor. You gotta learn to wait for what's worth it. See, when I started out in comedy, I wasn't making no money. Slept in my car, did shows for free meals, but I had vision. I knew every sacrifice was adding up. And now, I'm living what I prayed for years ago. Dr. Peale, why is delayed gratification such a game changer?
Steve, your story is a powerful testament to one of life's greatest truths. Nothing truly valuable comes instantly. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist the temptation of immediate comfort for the sake of a greater reward later. It's not just about patience, it's about vision. When you know where you're headed, you're willing to go through what it takes to get there. See, our modern culture praises speed, fast money, fast fame, fast success, but what's fast often fades. What's lasting is built over time through consistent effort and disciplined choices. Whether you're building a career, a business, a relationship, or your character, you must understand that the greatest outcomes come from the longest commitments. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to your destiny. Every time you choose discipline over desire, you're sowing seeds for a future harvest. And here's the deeper part: when you delay gratification, you're not just shaping your life, you're strengthening your soul, you're learning self-control, building resilience, and cultivating focus. These are the very traits that elevate you when success finally arrives. So don't be discouraged if it's taking time. Keep doing the work, stay faithful to your vision, and trust that the reward is growing even when you can't see it yet. Because when it comes, and it will, you'll be ready for it.
Let me tell y'all something. Success don't show up in chaos. If your days look like a circus, your future gonna look like a disaster. You need structure. I used to think talent alone would take me there, but talent without discipline, that's just noise. Once I started setting a routine, my prayers, my workouts, my writing, man, doors started opening like never before. Dr. Peale, why is a consistent routine so powerful in personal growth?
Steve, that's the truth. A consistent routine is the backbone of a transformed life. Think of it this way. Your daily habits are either pulling you closer to your purpose or pushing you further away from it. And the most successful people aren't always the most talented, they're often just the most consistent. When you establish a routine, you're not just managing time, you're managing energy, priorities, and focus. You create a rhythm that conditions your mind and body to operate with clarity and intention. This structure eliminates guesswork, reduces stress, and sets you up to win each day before it even begins. Some people wait for motivation to strike, but motivation is a guest and routine is the house you live in. You need both, but the house has to be built first. Even small routines, waking up early, journaling for 10 minutes, limiting distractions, these little actions compound over time. They create momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. Discipline in your routine teaches you something deeper too, that you are in control. Not your mood, not your circumstances, you. That realization alone is empowering. So if you're serious about working on yourself, don't just chase big moments. Create a daily rhythm. Set your alarm with purpose, move with direction, and let your routine become the engine that carries you to your destiny.
Everybody don't deserve access to you. Let me say that one more time for the folks in the back. If they're draining your spirit, they don't belong in your circle. You know, I used to feel guilty saying no, felt like I owed people my time, my peace, my attention. But one day I realized if I don't protect my energy, I can't show up fully for the people I truly love. So Dr. Peale, why is it so important to guard our energy in this journey of self-growth?
Steve, that right there is one of the most overlooked lessons in personal transformation, the power of protecting your energy. You see, energy is invisible, but it's everything. It's what fuels your thoughts, your actions, your relationships, and your dreams. If your energy is low, polluted, or scattered, even your best intentions won't bear fruit. People often think working on themselves means grinding nonstop, but true self-work also means preserving what keeps you grounded, your emotional balance, your inner calm, your mental focus. And that means being mindful of who and what you allow into your mental and spiritual space. There are conversations that don't deserve your response, opinions that don't deserve your attention, and environments that don't deserve your presence. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you're building something within yourself, and not everyone gets to touch that process. It's okay to walk away from drama. It's okay to say no without an explanation. It's okay to cancel access to people who only show up to subtract. When you protect your energy, you become more available to your purpose. You can hear your own thoughts more clearly. You can love deeper, think sharper, and grow stronger. Your energy is sacred. Treat it like it is. So ask yourself daily, does this person, this task, this environment add to me or drain me? Because how you protect your energy determines how far you'll go.
Look, man, everybody want to change their life until they realize it ain't glamorous. Growth don't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it looks like doing the same small thing over and over again when nobody's watching. And I tell you something, the hardest thing I had to learn wasn't how to dream big. It was how to show up on the days I didn't feel like it, the days I was tired, the days I felt stuck. So Dr. Peale, why is consistency such a game changer when you're working on yourself?
Steve, that's a truth that hits home. Consistency is the quiet force behind every lasting transformation. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. You see, people often chase motivation. They wait for inspiration to strike like lightning. But motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. Consistency, on the other hand, is a choice. It's a decision you make every day, whether you feel like it or not. Working on yourself means doing the simple things: reading, praying, exercising, learning, reflecting, repeatedly, even when no one applauds you for it, especially when no one notices. Because those small, unseen efforts build inner strength, character, and discipline. Most people give up, not because the goal is too far, but because the path gets dull. It feels like nothing's changing. But real growth is like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you give it light, and you trust the process. Consistency is what keeps you going through the plateau. It's the bridge between setting an intention and living in transformation. So if you're out there doing the work bit by bit, day by day, I want to tell you this: you're not behind, you're built. Don't underestimate the power of steady effort. One small habit done daily can change the entire direction of your life.
Listen, if you've made it this far, let me tell you something. You already got what it takes. Ain't nobody else gonna do the work for you. But you're not alone in it. Stay steady, stay faithful, keep chipping away, because the best version of you, that's the one worth fighting for every single day.